Hello dear students, today we are going to the last chapter of NCERT volume 1. The chapter is chapter 8, electromagnetic waves. Some portion of it has been deleted this year, but without that topic we cannot proceed. The topic which has been deleted is basic idea of displacement current, but I think the displacement current is the topic which is the base of this chapter. So not sake of notes but for the sake of concept I am going to do that. Thereafter we'll do Maxwell's prediction of electromagnetic waves, then properties of electromagnetic waves and electromagnetic spectrum. The electromagnetic spectrum will consist of 7 different spectrums which are the part of electromagnetic wave, and all those will have some properties. So about that property I'll provide you a list. In that list, you need to understand, you need to learn that what is the frequency range of each spectrum, what is the wavelength range of each spectrum, and how those spectrum are produced and what are the uses. So there's nothing to tell you about those. Okay. So today we'll cover the properties of electromagnetic wave, and for me this will be the last part. I'll tell you about something spectrum also, and then after I'll provide you a list in which electromagnetic spectrum is there, and through that list you can understand the production, the frequency range, the wavelength range and the use. Okay, so this is how this chapter will be done in one lecture only, because displacement current we don't have to do. I will tell you, but only for the sake of concept. Okay, so let us start and let us understand what is displacement current. Displacement current. I don't know why this topic has been deleted. This is a very important topic to understand electromagnetic wave. What happens when we apply a capacitor, when we combine a capacitor with a source and a key? Okay, if this key is off, capacitor is discharged, the source is off, let it be the voltage of V. If we switch on the circuit, then what happens? This capacitor gets charged from the source. Okay, charge starts flowing. This plate of the capacitor starts becoming positive. This plate starts being negative, and the positive charge will flow to the negative terminal of the battery. So we'll have a current when the capacitor is being charged. Once the voltage, the potential difference of capacitor becomes V, then the flow of current stops. Okay, this happens. But suppose while the capacitor is being charged, while the capacitor is being charged, we are talking about that duration only. We have a current in the outside circuit. We have a current in the outside circuit. So what I am going to do, I am going to take an Amperean loop, a closed loop, which is just outside this plate. Okay, just outside this plate. Let this loop be C1. A closed loop, a circular loop. Let this loop be C1. Right? So you apply Ampere's circuit law on this loop. Applying ACL for C1, we'll have line integration of B vector dot DL vector along C1. We'll have mu naught times into I, because when the capacitor is being charged, then we'll have a current in the outside circuit. But if we take a loop just inside the capacitor, just by this plate, somewhere here, just by this plate, let this loop be C2. Again we are applying Ampere's circuit law for C2. So we are going to have B vector dot DL vector is equal to mu naught times, but there is no current. Between the plates of the capacitor, we don't have current. So C2, since no current is there, so mu naught times into 0, and this whole becomes 0. So it is 0. But C1 and C2, they are very close to each other. They are just, one is just this side of the plate, another is just this side of the plate, and if you remember, the thickness of the plate is very small. So we can take them as 1, and if we take them as 1, then the problem starts. Because as per the 1, there should be a mu naught I, but as per the second, there is 0. So, as per this, there exists a magnetic field. As per this, since in line integration of dl cannot be 0, so B can be 0. So as per this, there is no magnetic field, but as per this, there is magnetic field. Now what to do? Now what to do? Means there is some problem with the Ampere's circuital law. There is some problem with the Ampere's circuital law, and this is called discontinuity of ACL. Discontinuity of, inconsistency of ACL. Ampere's circuital law. How to remove that inconsistency? What we say, we modified that Ampere's circuital law, and we say that V vector dot dl vector is actually mu naught times IC, which is this conducting current, plus ID. What is ID? ID is displacement current which exists between the plates of the capacitor. Between the plates of the capacitor. How this exists? Let me explain. If you see that there is a space between the plates of the capacitor, and this part of the capacitor is positive charge, this part is negative charge. So basically we have an electric field existing between the plates of the capacitor. Okay, and as the capacitor is being charged, then this charge also increases. Since electric field is equal to sigma upon epsilon naught, which is equal to Q upon A epsilon naught for this configuration. So Q is changing, and that's why this electric field is changing. When we bring a magnetic compass nearby the space between the plates, then there is a deflection in the magnetic compass. Deflection in the magnetic compass simply indicates that there must be a current. But there is no current, there is no physical path provided to the current. But what is there? There is electric field. And that electric field is actually changing with time, because Q is changing with time. So what we conclude from here, what we take a conclusion, we say that the time changing electric field causes a current. The time changing electric field causes a current which produces magnetic field. So causes a current episode has been removed, and we directly say the time changing electric field produces a magnetic field. So the displacement current is given by displacement current is given by we say that it is directly proportional to the rate of change of electric flux through the space. If we remove that proportionality sign, we are going to have epsilon naught, because electric field is a factor which depends upon permittivity, upon dt. Now ID is equal to, let us put the value, d by dt of what is flux? It is E into A, electric field into area. Area is not changing, we can take area out of the differentiation. So A epsilon naught into d by dt of E. E is what? Q upon A epsilon naught. Now this A epsilon naught will be cancelled out. dq by dt we are going to have, and that is equal to what? Conduction current. So what we conclude, we say that there is a displacement current which exists between the plates of the capacitor, and in magnitude it is equal to the conduction current which is existing outside the capacitor in the wires. And from here the Ampere's circuital law has been modified, and now that modified Ampere's circuital law is given that the line integration of magnetic field around any closed loop is equal to mu naught times the total current. Total current consists of conduction current as well as displacement current. The line integration of magnetic field around any closed loop is equal to mu naught times the total current, that is the sum of conduction current and displacement current passing through the loop. Okay. Now this is consistent. How we can say that? We can say that from, if we apply it for C1, B vector dot dl vector, then we are going to have mu naught times IC plus ID. But for C1, it is outside capacitor, there is no electric field, and that's why it is 0. So we are going to have B vector dot dl vector is equal to mu naught times IC we have taken as I. So it is IC, let it be IC, no problem. And if we apply it for C2, B vector dot dl vector, V naught times IC plus ID. But again, this time, this IC becomes 0 because there is no conducting path for the current. So ID we are going to have, and that ID is equal to what? C2 B vector dot dl vector is equal to what? Mu naught times, in place of ID we can put IC. So again we have got IC only. So both of them having the same value, right? So in this way we say that the Ampere circuit law is being consistent, okay? And that to modified Ampere circuit law. Modified Ampere circuit law is consistent, okay? Now what is the important conclusion from here? The important conclusion is the time changing electric field produces a magnetic field. A time changing electric field produces a magnetic field. This is the conclusion, right? This is the conclusion. Now, how this conclusion is very important when we talk about electromagnetic waves. Just see what happens. If you take a circuit, I have taken an alternating source, I have taken a plate here, one plate here, both plates are connected by an alternating source, right? So space between the plates, there will be a changing electric field. So what will happen? Since this EMF is an alternating one, so it supplies a voltage like this, and that's where the electric field which is being produced in the circuit, that will also have the same nature because charge is having the same nature. Okay, so electric field will be like increases, then decreases, becomes negative maximum, like this. This is your electric field. This electric field, let this be your y-axis, let this be your x-axis, let this be your z-axis, right? So electric field have some changes along y-axis. So electric field vector oscillates along y-axis. But this time changing electric field produces magnetic field, and that magnetic field will be perpendicular to electric field. So magnetic field will be in the xz plane, and it is going to be like this. It is going to be like this. So if you can imagine, the electric field oscillates along y direction and the magnetic field oscillates along z direction. So it goes like this. Okay, if I want you to show with the help of marker, then the red one represents electric field and the black one represents magnetic field. So they are like this. Okay, it is towards your side and this is towards y-axis. So they goes like this. Okay, they goes like this. This oscillates this side, this oscillates this side, and they go like this. Are you able to understand? Okay, if this is your electric field, this is your magnetic field. So they oscillate and they keep on moving in this direction. This is how the electromagnetic wave is. So basic idea of electromagnetic wave: a time varying electric field produces a magnetic field. A time varying magnetic field produces an electric field. Here is a time varying electric field which produces magnetic field. This magnetic field is a time varying magnetic field which produces electric field. This electric field again produces magnetic field. This magnetic field produces electric field. This electric field produces magnetic field, and this goes on. Okay, so basically what is an electromagnetic wave? Electromagnetic wave is a wave which is radiated by an oscillating charge particle or the accelerated charge particle. Here the charge is oscillating, not oscillating I must say. Here in the circuit the charge is oscillating. We have done LC oscillation. In capacitor the EMF supplied is like this. Charge also will be in the same manner. So charge is being oscillated on the plates of the capacitor. So charge is basically accelerated motion. Remember students, when the charge is steady, it produces electric field. When charge is moving with constant velocity, it produces magnetic field. But when charge is moving with accelerated velocity, then it produces EM wave. So when an accelerated charge is moving, then it produces a time varying electric field which produces a magnetic field, and we get an electromagnetic wave. So this is the graph of electromagnetic wave. And if I write what is the mathematical equation of electromagnetic wave as per my diagram, so electric field is oscillating along y-axis. So for electric field, if I write the mathematical equation, it is going to be E vector is equal to what? E naught. I am simply writing a equation of simple harmonic wave. So E naught sine kx minus omega t j cap. And for the magnetic field, if I write, then V vector is equal to what? B naught sine k x minus omega t, but B is oscillating along z direction. So I must write k cap. So E vector is equal to E naught sine kx minus omega t j cap. B vector is equal to B naught sine kx minus omega t k cap. Now that k and omega, they can be put in the several other forms. Like in place of k we can put 2 pi by lambda. In place of omega we can put 2 pi by capital T, and we can change its form, but the basic equation is like this. Okay, this is all about the basic idea of electromagnetic waves. I hope it is clear. Now we are moving ahead and we are going to do the properties of electromagnetic wave. This year the syllabus has been very shortened and I am sticking to the syllabus only. Okay, what are the important concepts I have told? From this displacement current, the most important conclusion is a time varying electric field produces a magnetic field. Okay, so now we are moving to the properties of electromagnetic waves, and then after the electromagnetic spectrum is there. For that I'll send the notes, but I'll give you a basic idea. Okay, so here we are going to study properties of EM waves. Right? So let us start properties one by one. The first property is, as I have told earlier also, that EM waves are produced by accelerated charge. EM waves are produced by accelerated charge, not steady charge, not charge with moving with uniform velocity. And I'll like to add one more point. And it does not require a physical medium to pass. Some waves are there, like sound waves. When the medium is absent, when it is vacuum, the sound wave cannot travel. But here, that electromagnetic waves, they self have some energy. They are energetic waves. They can travel by themselves. Okay? Second point we are going to discuss is the direction of electric field oscillations, E vector, is always perpendicular to B vector. Okay? E vector is always perpendicular to V vector. In electromagnetic consists of electric field and magnetic field both. And electric field is perpendicular to magnetic field. And direction of propagation is perpendicular to E vector as well as perpendicular to B vector also. So what I want to say is the electric field, magnetic field and the direction of propagation, all these three directions are perpendicular to each other. Let me repeat once again. The direction of electric field, magnetic field and the direction of propagation, all these three directions are perpendicular to each other. Okay, so this is your second property. Now let us move to the third property. Third property is, if you see the equation of electric field, it was E vector is equal to E naught sine omega t minus kx, or kx minus omega t, it was kx minus omega t j cap. And if you see the equation of magnetic field, it was B naught sine kx minus omega t k cap. Although they are vibrating in different planes, but their phase kx and kx minus omega t, the phase is same. So what we say in the property number third, we say that electric field and magnetic field oscillates in same phase. Okay, you can see in the equation also. Now we are going to understand the relation between E vector and B vector. As we all know, the constant for permittivity when we use it is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught. In electrostatics, for electric field we use this constant, and its value is what? 9 into 10 to the power 9 Newton meter square per Coulomb square. And the constant for magnetic field we use mu naught upon 4 pi, which value is 10 to the power minus 7 Tesla meter square, Tesla meter per ampere. Okay, so these are the two values. Now if we divide these equations, okay, like equation number 2 divided by equation number 1, or equation number 1 divided by equation number 2, so we are going to have 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught into divided, so 4 pi upon mu naught. I have multiplied reciprocal, so I am going to have 9 into 10 to the power 9 upon 10 to the power minus 7. Now 4 pi and 4 pi will be cancelled out, as you can see. So what we are going to have, 1 upon mu naught epsilon naught, and here we are going to have 9 into 10 to the power 9 plus 7, 16. So it can be written as mu naught epsilon naught, it can be written as 3 into 10 to the power 8 square. Now 3 into 10 to the power 8. One more thing, I have not simplified this equation. Tesla not in terms of this one, meter kg and per meter kg second. This also, if we simplified it, then we found that when this and this are divided, what we get? We get the dimensions of the speed. And if we get the dimensions of speed, it simply means that this is the value of speed of light. So what we are going to have? Mu naught epsilon naught is equal to, we can write c square. So c is equal to what? 1 upon under root mu naught epsilon naught. So this is how the equations of the constants of electrostatics and electric field and the magnetic field are connected. Speed of light is equal to 1 upon under root mu naught epsilon naught. If that medium is changed, then what will happen? So instead of using permittivity of free space, we will use permittivity of property number 5 for any medium. Then instead of using 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught, we will use epsilon, which is equal to 1 upon 4 pi k epsilon naught. In the same manner, we will not use mu naught, will not use mu, we will use mu of medium upon 4 pi. Now that mu of medium in terms of mu relative, relative permeability is defined as mu of the medium upon permeability of free space, as we define this dielectric constant. So mu r into mu naught upon 4 pi. Again, if we divide them, what we are going to have? We are going to have 1 upon under root. We divide them, we take the square root, what we are going to have? We are going to have 1 upon k epsilon naught and mu r mu naught. Now epsilon naught mu naught just take together. We are going to have k into mu r, k into mu r. Let me clean it. 1 upon k into mu r and epsilon naught mu naught. Mu naught epsilon naught. Now this 1 upon mu naught epsilon naught, we can put what? We can put speed of light. Square of speed of light. So what we are going to have? 1 upon k mu r into square of speed of light. So the speed of light in that particular medium is reduces by this amount. Is reduces by this amount. Is it clear? And that's why we say it as refractive index. Here the concept of refractive index comes, because every other medium responds to electric field in different way. So permeability of the medium and permittivity of the medium changes with the medium, and that's why the speed, earlier it was c square only, but now this factor also there. So basically what we are going to have, if we divide this one, this with this one, so c square will be cancelled out, and we are going to have 1 upon k into mu r, which is our refractive index, related to refractive index. Okay, it explains why the speed of light changes with the change in medium. Okay, so now let us move to the next point. Let me remove all this. Now next point is, if we want to relate point number 6, if we want to relate E naught and V naught, then how we can relate? We simply say that when E naught and V naught, they are divided, they are going to equal to what? C square. If E naught and V naught divided, not C square actually, it is C. When E naught, V naught, the ratio of E naught and V naught is equal to C, which is equal to the ratio of E and B, which is equal to under root mu naught epsilon. Is it clear? Okay. So this is the sixth property, the ratio of electric field, magnitude of electric field to the magnetic field, or ratio of amplitude of electric field to the magnetic field is equal to what? C, and C is what? Speed of light. So this is the property number 6. The property number 7. The property number 7 says that property number 7 is electromagnetic waves shows the properties of reflection, refraction, polarization, interference, and so on. Okay, these are the properties the electromagnetic wave shows. Okay, so these are all the properties of electromagnetic wave, and these are very important. Now the second part of the chapter, one very important property, property number 8, before I forget, and the property number 8 is EM waves are transverse in nature. Actually this should be the first or second. Transverse in nature. Transverse in nature means, why we should say that? Because the direction of vibration of electric field as well as the magnetic field, the direction of vibration of electric field as well as the magnetic field is perpendicular to the direction of propagation of wave, and that's why we are saying that the electric field, the EM waves are transverse in nature because of that perpendicular vibration. So these are all the properties. Okay, now we are going to study the electromagnetic spectrum. So let us understand what is electromagnetic spectrum. When we say electromagnetic wave, someone may stick to the waves which we can see, which is not correct actually. What we can see is a small part of electromagnetic wave spectrum. Okay, it is a very small part. Visible light is a very small part of electromagnetic wave spectrum. Visible light, okay, is a very small part. It starts with violet and it ends with red. The intermediate colors are indigo, blue, green, orange, red. All we remember that Vibgyor we always remember. Before visible light also and after visible light also, there is so much spectrum to study. Okay, there is so much spectrum to study. How we can study? Just if you remember that A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and you have to start with U. Okay, so after that you'll get UV. What UV stands for? UV stands for ultraviolet rays. After UV, what comes? After UV, what comes? UV, W. W is not wave. Then X waves, X rays. After UV, you will get X rays. Okay. Then after Y, Z. But Y, not Y exactly, but looks alike Y. That is a gamma rays. Okay. So this side we go like this. If you remember, visible light, UV, W is not there, X, Y. Just like Y, gamma rays are there. Before that, visible light, before that, we'll have microwaves. Microwaves. Before microwaves, we have short radio waves. Short radio waves. And before short radio waves, we have long radio waves. So how many waves are there to remember? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are the 7 spectrums. About all these spectrums, you need to understand what are their frequency range, what is their wavelength range, how they produce, what are the use of them, and about that I will send you a note. Okay, probably today or probably on Monday. Okay, so on Monday, this chapter, this whole syllabus of yours till for the half yearly is finished now. We have done, I think, chapter number 1 to 10 now in a row. 9, 10 we have done first one. Then after we have started chapter number 1 and then we completed till chapter number 8. This electromagnetic wave chapter is very small. It is not my fault that it completes in one lecture only. In class it will take 2, probably 3 lectures. But here and earlier displacement current was also there. Maxwell's equations are also there. But about Maxwell's equation there are some confusion. So let me confirm with other teachers whether it is there in the syllabus or not. But it is not mentioned in the revised syllabus. And that's why the Maxwell equations I have not told you. But if it is required, I'll tell you afterwards. Is it clear? So this is all for the day. This is all for the syllabus also. And now onwards, only the revision class I'll take. And that will be online live classes. Not today, not tomorrow, but from the Monday, daily one class will be there. Instead of posting the video, I'll start revising this chapter, and that particular video of revision will be posted on the YouTube. Is it clear? And then one more video will be there of syllabus ahead, but it will be after the exams. Okay, so this is all for today. Thank you.